Gentlemen, there comes a time in every man's life when he must make a decision to rise, a decision to grow, a decision to no longer let fear be the enemy, but instead his greatest ally. Because fear is always there, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, but here's the truth. Fear was never meant to stop you. Fear was meant to sharpen you, to wake you up, to push you to act. Look around. The world doesn't wait. The opportunities you hesitate on today will be gone tomorrow. And the only thing standing between where you are and where you could be is you. So what do? We take responsibility. We own our time. We stop making excuses, and we use the fear. Fear is one of the most misunderstood forces in a man's life. Most people run from it, avoid it, suppress it, or let it control them. But fear was never meant to be the enemy. It was meant to be a tool, a sharp blade that, when used correctly, carves a stronger, wiser, and more capable man. Fear is a signal, a warning light, the pressure that exists not to paralyze you, but to prepare you. It tells you that something important is at stake, that you are stepping into unfamiliar territory, that growth is within reach. And here's the truth. If you never feel fear, you are not challenging yourself enough. Every great man in history has felt fear. The difference between those who rise and those who shrink is how they respond to it. The weak let fear dictate their choices. They hesitate, they overthink, they wait for the perfect moment that never comes. The strong recognize fear for what it is, proof that they are standing at the edge of something meaningful. Instead of retreating, they push forward, embracing the discomfort because they understand that fear is the doorway to strength. Think about the first time you tried anything difficult. Maybe it was speaking in front of a crowd, asking for a promotion, starting a business, or stepping into a fight you weren't sure you could win. Fear was there, whispering doubts, making your hands sweat, trying to keep you small. But the moment you stepped through that fear, something changed. You became more. Your confidence grew. Your abilities expanded. Fear wasn't stopping you. It was shaping you into the man you needed to become. Fear forces you to prepare, to be alert, to be sharp. A man who fears losing his family will work harder to provide. A man who fears regret will take action instead of making excuses. A man who fears mediocrity will push himself beyond his limits. Fear, when used correctly, becomes fuel. The key is to lean into it, to use it as an indicator of where you need to go next. Because the life you want, the strength, the success, the respect, it all lives on the other side of fear. And the only way to claim it is to stop seeing fear as something to avoid and start seeing it as the very thing that will make you unstoppable. Everyday opportunities pass by unnoticed, not because they are hidden, but because too many men hesitate when it's time to act. They wait for the perfect conditions, the perfect plan, the perfect moment. But perfection never comes. And while they hesitate, someone else steps up, takes the risk, and seizes the reward. Success is never about who has the most potential, the most talent, or the most intelligence. It's about who is willing to act when the moment arrives, because hesitation is the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't destroy them overnight. It slowly suffocates them under a pile of doubt, overthinking, and excuses until the opportunity is gone. The man who hesitates at the starting line will never win the race. The man who overthinks every move will never make a bold one. The man who waits for certainty will never experience victory. Life does not wait for you to be ready, it moves forward. And if you're not willing to move with it, you get left behind. The opportunity you pass up today will be in someone else's hands tomorrow, and they will turn it into everything you could have had. And the worst part, you will never know how good it could have been. That's the real pain of hesitation. Not just missing out on success, but living with the regret of knowing you let it slip away. Some of the biggest regrets in life are not the mistakes we make, but the chances we didn't take. The job we didn't apply for, the business we didn't start, the conversation we didn't have, the move we didn't make. Because hesitation doesn't just cost you time, it costs you confidence. Every time you delay a decision, you teach yourself to be passive, you train your mind to hold back instead of push forward. And over time, hesitation becomes a habit, and that habit becomes a way of life. But the man who learns to act, to trust his instincts, to take the shot even when he's uncertain, becomes unstoppable. He may not always get it right, but he will always be moving forward. And forward is where success lives. If you want more out of life, you must move faster than your doubts. You must train yourself to recognize an opportunity and take it before hesitation steals it from you. Because the truth is, life rewards those who move, not those who wait. There comes a point in every man's life when he must decide to take full ownership of everything. His choices, his results, his successes, and his failures. Until that decision is made, life will always feel out of control, as if someone else is pulling the strings. But the truth is, no one is coming to rescue you. No one owes you anything. No one is responsible for your future except you. Excuses might make you feel better in the moment, but they will never change your circumstances. Blaming your past, your environment, or other people only keeps you stuck. The man who refuses to take responsibility remains weak, waiting for life to improve instead of stepping up to improve his life. The hard truth is that where you are right now is a direct result of the choices you've made, and if that stings, good, because pain can be a powerful teacher. The moment you accept full responsibility for your situation is the moment you gain the power to change it. You can't fix what you refuse to own. If your finances are a mess, it's because of the decisions you made. If your body is out of shape, it's because of the choices you made. If your relationships are struggling, it's because of the actions or inactions you took. That's not meant to shame you. It's meant to wake you up. Because if you created the problem, then you have the power to fix it. That's the difference between men who win and men who stay stuck. Ownership. The weak man looks for excuses. The strong man looks for solutions. The weak man waits for things to change. The strong man makes the change. The weak man complains about his circumstances. The strong man builds his future. Every time you make an excuse, you give away your power. Every time you take responsibility, you take it back. That's how growth happens. That's how success is built. Through the daily decision to own your life completely. No blaming, no waiting, no wishing, just action, discipline, and relentless accountability. The moment you embrace that truth, you become unstoppable. Because a man who takes full responsibility is a man who controls his destiny. And there is no greater power than that. Fearful thoughts will always be there. They creep in when you're about to take a risk, step into the unknown, or challenge yourself to do something bigger. They whisper doubts, worst-case scenarios, and every reason why you should wait, hesitate, or turn back. But fear is not a reason to stop. It is a signal that you need to act. The best way to silence fear is not by avoiding it, not by hoping it goes away, but by meeting it head-on with action and preparation. Because fear thrives in uncertainty, but when you prepare, you remove uncertainty. When you take action, you prove to yourself that fear has no power over you. Most people let fear paralyze them. They sit and overthink, and playing the same worries over and over in their minds, as if thinking about a problem will solve it, but thinking alone does nothing. Action is the cure. The moment you take a step forward, fear begins to lose its grip. You don't have to know every step, just the next one. Take that step, then take another. Each move you make builds momentum, and momentum builds confidence. The more you act, the less fear controls you. But action alone is not enough. You must also prepare. A man who prepares does not fear the battle. He welcomes it. If you fear failing in business, prepare by learning, strategizing, and mastering your craft. If you fear speaking in public, prepare by practicing, refining your message, and training your delivery. If you fear not being strong enough, prepare by training harder, eating better, and sharpening your discipline. The more prepared you are, the less fear can shake you. Fearful thoughts will never fully disappear, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that you don't let them dictate your life. You challenge them with action so that fear turns into experience. You challenge them with preparation so that fear turns into confidence. The man who waits for fear to go away will never move forward, but the man who takes action despite it will become unstoppable. Every great achievement, every success, every breakthrough happens because someone acted in the face of fear. That is how real men win. That is how real men grow. Not by avoiding fear, but by challenging it every single day. There is a hard truth that every man must face at some point in his life. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to knock on your door with the perfect opportunity, hand you success, or fix the problems you refuse to confront. If you sit around waiting for someone to rescue you, you will be waiting for a lifetime. The world does not owe you anything. You can blame your past, your circumstances, or the people who didn't support you, but none of that will change your situation. The only way forward is to step up and take control of your life. Weak men wait. They wait for motivation. They wait for someone to notice their struggle. They wait for a sign that it's time to move. But waiting is a slow poison. It kills ambition, destroys confidence, and leaves a man trapped in a cycle of excuses. The difference between a man who wins and a man who stays stuck is simple. One takes action and the other waits for permission. No one is going to give you permission to be great. No one is going to build your future for you. If you want more, you must go out and take it. When life knocks you down, no one is coming to pick you up. It is your job to rise. When you face failure, no one is going to make you try again. It is your responsibility to keep going. When things get hard, no one is going to carry you across the finish line. You must be strong enough to carry yourself. The world respects action. It rewards those who take full responsibility for their lives, who refuse to wait, who decide that enough is enough and step up like real men. There will always be challenges. There will always be reasons to quit. But the moment you stop looking for a savior and start acting like your own, everything changes. You become powerful because you stop relying on others to fix what only you can fix. You become fearless because you realize that every setback is a test of your ability to rise. You become unstoppable because the only man who can stop you is you, and you've decided that quitting is no longer an option. No one is coming to save you. That's the best news you'll ever hear, because that means your future is in your hands, exactly where it should be. Fear is a constant. It will always be there when you step into something new, take on a bigger challenge, or chase something that matters. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not the presence or absence of fear. It's what they do with it. Most people think they need to eliminate fear before they take action, but that's a lie. Fear doesn't disappear before you move. It disappears because you move. Success isn't about avoiding fear. It's about moving forward despite it. Too many men wait for the fear to go away before they start. They wait until they feel ready. They wait until they feel confident. But fear doesn't leave on its own. It must be conquered. And the only way to conquer it is through action. The first time you do something new, fear is loud. The second time, it's quieter. The third time, it barely speaks. Why? Because confidence is built through doing, not thinking. The more you push forward, the more you prove to yourself that fear has no power over you. Fear is nothing more than a test. It asks one simple question: are you willing to move forward anyway? Weak men let fear answer for them. They let fear stop them from starting a business, from speaking up, from taking the risks that could change their lives. Strong men understand that fear is part of the journey. They feel it, acknowledge it, and then act anyway. They know that everything they want, the success, the growth, the respect, lies on the other side of fear. And the only way to reach it is to walk straight through. Avoiding fear doesn't keep you safe, it keeps you small. Every time you choose comfort over courage, you shrink, you teach yourself to settle, you build the habit of hesitation. But every time you move forward, despite fear, you grow, you gain strength, you build resilience, and you separate yourself from the men who let fear dictate their lives. Success is not reserved for the fearless. It belongs to the men who take action even when fear is screaming in their ears. The question is never, how do I get rid of fear? The real question is, am I willing to move forward anyway? Because that answer determines everything. Your future is not determined by luck, talent, or even intelligence. It is determined by your ability to face fear and take action. Every man who has ever built something great, who has ever changed his life, who has ever achieved something meaningful, did it by stepping into fear, not away from it. Fear is the barrier that separates where you are now from where you want to be. It is not there to stop you, it is there to test you. And the men who understand this, who lean into fear instead of running from it, are the ones who create powerful futures. Fear exists in every major decision you will make. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of stepping into the unknown. But here's the truth. Everything you want is on the other side of that fear. The success you crave, the respect you seek, the strength you admire, all of it comes to the man who is willing to move forward despite the fear trying to hold him back. Most people let fear dictate their actions. They hesitate, they procrastinate, they play small because fear convinces them that risk is too great. But those who rise above understand that fear is not a stop sign. It's a green light that says, this is the way. The future does not belong to the man who plays it safe. It belongs to the man who steps into discomfort, who takes the risks, who acts even when uncertainty is staring him in the face. The strongest men are not the ones who feel no fear, but the ones who do not let fear make their decisions. Every time you embrace fear and take action, you get stronger, you build momentum, you gain confidence. And the more you do this, the less fear controls you. But every time you avoid fear, you train yourself to back down. You teach yourself to settle. And settling is the fastest way to a future filled with regret. Your future is shaped by the choices you make today. If you want to be stronger, richer, wiser, and more powerful, you must act despite fear. You must embrace it as a tool, not an obstacle. Because the man who learns to use fear as fuel is the man who will build a future far greater than the one he ever imagined. The choice is in your hands. You can let fear control you, keep you small, and rob you of the life you were meant to live. Or you can decide right now that fear will no longer dictate your future. That from this moment forward you will act despite fear, move despite doubt, and step forward even when uncertainty tries to hold you back. Because the man who embraces fear and takes action is the man who wins. He is the man who builds his future instead of waiting for it. He is the man who rises while others hesitate. And that man, that future is yours for the taking. So stand up, step forward, and take what's yours.